Kieran over here, Box of Bants, and I'm very happy to be joined by Mr. Michael Corr, young upcoming prospect. Michael, even though you're only 18, this has been a long time coming. You turning pro.
Yeah, mate.
Am I right in saying that you were on the unlicensed pro scene for a little bit? You were fighting on the IBA shows with Marty Kays and whatnot.
Yeah, mate.
What can I ask? What was your amateur career like before you went into the unlicensed scene?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great. I'm not gonna bum and blow about it. Like, it wasn't the best, but I did fight in a couple of competitions and the All Irelands and stuff. So it was alright.
Yeah, and it must have been just the kind of pro style, the longer rounds, the more amount of rounds, the style of how people fight. I imagine that's what kind of drew you then to the unlicensing before you turned over. Was that right?
Yeah, mate. It was just more get the experience with the hair guard, the later gloves, and just sort of my style. See what I could do in that there, and I did pretty well. So it gave me experience for what's next, you know.
I hear you were harassing Dennis Morrison for 4 months before you went over.
Yeah, I was doing Dennis's head, and so I wasn't. Then I actually ended up getting the reply from him, and just basically saying, you know, just stick it out. You're still only 17. Once you're 18, you know, we'll get you signed. And then I think it was like the day or two after I turned 18, it was straight on the phone call. So it was, and we ended up signing. So happy enough.
Boxing, like someone at your age, a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, you're only 18. Maybe see what other options are." Because boxing is a tough game. Why is it that what is it that drew you to the pro game?
I've been at the pro shows with the likes of Teeny and Halo, you know, from they've started the pro game till recently. So seeing them do what they can do and how big they've got makes me wanna do the same, you know.
Have you had conversations with Dennis in terms of what's the ambition? Like, I can imagine that he's just saying to take one fight as it goes, but have you kind of outlined your ambition?
I'm just happy to get going. You know, I've done an interview the other day, and it's just same thing. The main thing for me this year is getting the pro debut out of the way, and then finding my feet, and then we'll step up to the big fights that are there. You know, I'll fight anybody. I don't mind. Like, so, once the timing's right, you know, we'll take the big fights.
In terms of the conversation for your first fight, have you any idea? Is it going to be here in Ireland? Is it going to be abroad?
I seen Leonard had it on his Facebook that we're hoping to get a show in Belfast. So I'm hoping that if everything goes well, it'll be a pro debut in Belfast.
What weight class are you looking to campaign at?
Super bantamweight.
Super bantamweight. Oh, okay. It's a very niche in Ireland at the moment. Domestically, it's a very niche kind of weight class because the only people that really fought there pro is Jamie Douglas, who hasn't kind of fought since his debut, and then you have Sam Carroll. So it's there kind of for the taking that weight class in terms of it kind of needs to be built up more. Is that one of the reasons why you looked at that weight class?
Well, in the semi-pro, when I was doing the unlicensed, I was super featherweight, so it's about a pound or two, couple of pounds of a difference. So, you know, easy enough.
Yeah. And you fought TJ Massey in one of those fights. Yeah. For that unlicensed version of the Irish title. Do you think that experience has kind of built you for the program?
Yeah, just the later gloves and without the hair guard, you know, to other people it doesn't seem like a big difference, but you know, it is, because in the amateur game you have that hair guard on and there's a big square target, where without a hair guard and the later gloves, you know, for me, I just found it was brilliant. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So it did, it wasn't as hard to get hit than the later gloves. When you were hitting someone, you were feeling it.
Mm.
And even getting hit by the later gloves, they were stinging a bit.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to be your trainer now for the pro game?
Peter Graham.
Yeah, and how have you found adapting to training for a pro fight in comparison to the amateur scene?
Well, I just always, I always put 100% in every training camp, so it'll just be the same. Mm. So, well, no difference to me. I've always trained like a pro, so yeah.
Have you been learning anything that different in terms of strategies and the dark arts kind of that exist in pro game, but they don't really exist in amateurs? With heads, elbows, things like that, and just overall, it's much more tactical in terms of how you go about your rounds, not wasting energy. Have you been learning a lot of that?
Yeah, just learning about planting the feet, throwing them big shots. You want to be hurting people. It's not pro boxing, if when you need to, you can box on your toes and hit and move, but it's more about sitting down on your shots, stinging people and getting stoppages.
Mm-hmm. Who's your inspiration at the moment in terms of professional boxing, and what do you aspire to?
I look up to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, I think he's just, I don't know, he's just something different. He has everything in his locker. He can box, he can fight, he can punch, he can move, and he's won all the belts. He has all the money, so that's where you want to be. Everybody wants to be up there, but locally it would be Teeny and Halo. Them guys obviously are close friends, so them are guys as well. They're doing well for themselves, so I want to be in that same situation in a couple of years, hopefully.
You look at those people like Hilo and James Tennyson and then even Tyson Fury, they all have very different styles. What would you say that your style is going to be like in the pro game?
I can box, I can move, I can hit. It's just whatever's in front of me. We're going to just take every fight, obviously different opponents. So it's just going to have to be sit down and analyze it, bring out the best in me, and we'll see on the night. A different style on the night.
Yeah. So I was going to also ask you about management team. How have you found the whole game of I know you haven't had a fight yet, but people always talk about the dealings and stuff like that. It's much more different in terms of, you're going to be selling tickets and whatnot. How have you found that? Are you going to be trying to build yourself a big fan base in terms of helping you sell tickets?
Yeah, well, just on that, obviously on the unlicensed scene, you have to sell tickets. So I was selling a lot of tickets on the unlicensed scene, and I do have a big fan base,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that everybody buys tickets. Then I know they will. So, everybody up where I'm from, they like to get behind their own. So it's good that way,
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Very interesting. Do you see yourself fighting for an Irish title before you're 21?
Well, that's the plan. You just, like I said, just take every fight as it comes, and I'm not going to race myself into the big fights. I want to find my feet first and get myself used to the longer rounds and, everything like that there. So if it comes up, I'll jump at it, but I'll only jump at it if I feel as if I'm ready for it. I'm not going to jump into a big fight when I'm only 1-0, 2-0, It doesn't make sense.
Uh-huh. Would you be interested in fighting one of those shows abroad in Spain or Poland or anything like that, or you more so you want to make your debut here?
I don't mind. I'd fight anywhere. I'd fight out in my back garden, for God's sake. I'm easy. Like, I love fighting, so I would love to make my debut in Belfast. With hopefully if the crowds are back, it would be a dream come true. But I don't mind. It's a ring's a ring, gloves are gloves, so it could be anywhere.
Mm. Well, we got loads covered there, Michael. But I really appreciate your time, and hopefully next time I speak to you, it'll be after your pro debut, and I'll be able to speak to you in person.
Thanks very much, mate.
because obviously they're just the best the best interviews you can do in person. So yeah, really appreciate your time, Michael, and hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you, mate. Same to yourself. All the best.
Thank you.